Okay, welcome everybody to today's stream about two AI prompts that every advisor should try. Advisors, like everybody, have been hearing about AI everywhere, but the big challenge remains how do you actually use it? And today I am joined once again by Sean Bailey, editor-in-chief at Horsesmouth, who's going to be sharing with us two simple AI prompts that every advisor should give a try. So whether you're you've been curious about AI, you're just looking for a way to get started practically, this session is going to show you how to do it easily. So this conversation also is going to preview our upcoming workshop, which is the AI-powered financial advisor workshop, which starts later this month. I'll put a link where you can go and learn more about that on screen now. But so Sean, in our last stream, we talked big picture. We shared some survey results about advisor AI use. But today we're going to go a little bit deeper. And share some prompts. So why are prompts such an important piece of using AI effectively for advisors?
Yeah, thanks, Doug. Yeah, because last week we were talking about our survey shows, other surveys show, more uptake among financial advisors and sort of people in the business world in general. We know ChatGPT says they have 700 million, I think, daily users, certainly weekly users. But here's the thing. Um, People are using the tools. Our surveys show this, other surveys show it, but their ability to use them well is still not really happening too much. Our own survey showed our power users, advisors who use AI daily, that has doubled. I believe it's around 24% now, which is good. But we have a massive middle, I think around 54%, who use it weekly, monthly, every now and then, which tells me that they still don't really, have a handle on how to use it. Because if they knew how to use it well, and it doesn't take that much, prompts what we're going to talk about here in a minute, you would be using it all the time. And then we get 20% on the sidelines still who are, just haven't stepped up yet. They're in a wait and see mode, whatever the case may be. So your question about, the importance of prompts, I think relates to the 54% of those advisors who are using it in a very shallow way. It's probably because they don't understand how to, properly communicate with AI models to get the kind of amazing results that you can get. And the prompt is the way that this is done. So, we all got turned onto the internet when Google came along. It was this amazing search engine. And for years, people have been entering one or two words, or two or three words, I think is the average prompt, the average search term. Okay. And so when people started using AI, they kind of brought that search engine habit over to engaging the AI model. But these are answer engines, they're not search engines. It's an entirely different technology. And the prompt is the manner in which we communicate with the AI model. Some people refer to it as no-code coding. And what's so amazing about all this is that we can get these AI models like ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude to do amazing things when we can communicate with them. And that no-code coding of them is simply using the English language in a, sort of structured way, not very hard, especially once you learn it, to get these amazing results. And so that's why the prompts is a big focus of, all our programs, because they're the sort of key to use a famous ChatGPT word. It loves to say unlock, unlock the power, or I would prefer to say tap. To tap these models, you do it with the prompt. And so, that's what we're here to talk about.
And you alluded to the prompting like you would search in Google being one of the roadblocks, that kind of mistake.
Yep.
Any other reasons why advisors tend to struggle with prompts before we get into
Yeah,
them?
sure. There's still they still may, I think our survey showed that there's an increased number of people who are using 8 words or more in their prompt. But the truth is that these models uh, thrive on context. Context meaning you tell the AI, hey, what's going on? I use a sort of journalistic framework of, that's used to write a news story: who, what, when, where, why, and how. Okay. And so that to me is what context is. You're telling the AI model. We're going to talk about a couple different things here, but we'll just jump to the topic just to use as an example now, talking about your website. Your website is very important. And so in the context of prompting an AI model, you would be explaining that, you know, um, referrals is an important part of my business. I know that whenever a client refers me, any smart, prospect is, before they do anything, they're probably going to toggle over to the internet and search my website. Okay, so your website is super, super important. So in the context of going to write a prompt where you're going to get a critique of your website, which we're going to share here in a few minutes, you're going to want to say, not just critique my website, but you're going to have a more robust 3 or 4 sentences, maybe even more, depending upon the depth of, the response you're looking for, and you're going to give it the context. I'm a financial advisor. I work with these types of people. Uh, uh, I am wondering whether my website is optimized to give referrals who come to my website, the best first impression possible. And so that is all leading up to then the task of then you're going to spend a sentence or two asking the AI model to critique your website so that you have solid insights about, frankly, fairly easy things to fix to make your website more sticky, more memorable, and to differentiate it in a way that a referee coming to the website would leave with a good impression of you, and then go to the next step in this referral process of contacting you and or scheduling a meeting with you, that sort of thing.
All right, let's get into it. Let's get into these prompts. What's the first prompt you have
All right, let me go ahead
for us
and
today?
pull up my. All right, here we are. So, yeah. So I said we're talking about critiquing your website. Said why it's so important. And so here is prompt number one: critique your website, and it starts here. Now, the framework that we teach in our AI-powered financial advisor training program, and in our soon to be live in October, late October, our AI for Advisors Pro website, we teach a prompting framework called role task format, context, questions, and examples. Okay. And so this is a critique. This is a prompt for a critique. And you can see this is actually fairly long. And let me just kind of step everybody through it. We're going to use a friend of Horsesmouth's website, somebody down in Texas. And so we're going to get to that in a minute. But the role, so the prompt begins here because you need to tell the AI model how it's going to act as it goes about carrying out the task. And so here, the role is you are a UX UI designer. That's a user experience, user interface designer. These are people who are experts in understanding how websites work and how people interact with them. Okay. So this is a compound role. One part, you're a UX UI designer. And the second part, you're a digital marketing strategist, right? Specializing in websites for financial advisors and wealth management professionals. So that's the role in this critique prompt. The task is going to be to conduct a comprehensive critique of my financial advisory website, insert URL, with the goal of improving client trust, lead conversion, and overall professionalism. Okay. Then we give it the format. So the basic, for anybody just getting into this, the simplest prompting framework are the first three parts: role, task, and format. Who's the expert? What is the task you're asking the expert to carry out? And what is the format you want the answer to be in, the response, the thing that the AI model prints back to the screen. And so here with this prompt, um, we are saying, we want you to critique the website. And when you come back, you're going to give us a report. And the report is going to be broken down into sections. There are 6 of them listed here. The first section is going to be first impressions and credibility signals. And then it's going to answer a variety of questions about, does the site convey trust, expertise, professionalism, etc. The second one's going to be visual design and branding. Is the aesthetic modern, clean, and appropriate for high net worth or retirement focused clients, right? And it goes on. It is going to do an analysis of the navigation and the user journey. It's going to look at the value proposition and the marketing copy on the page, asking questions like, is the messaging really clear? Then it's going to look at lead generation and conversion tools. Are there things that you're offering on the website that's going to engage the visitor who, likely will share his or her email address with you in order to take advantage of some of the things that you're offering, including scheduling a consultation, right? And then the last section is a mobile and technical performance. How does this site, operate on mobile devices and so on and so forth. And then each one of those sections, the prompt goes on and says, for each one of those sections, we'll break it out in terms of strengths, weaknesses, and specific actionable recommendations. Now, we're not even at the end of the prompt yet, but I just want to stop for a second and say, this amount of professional information uh, and analysis of your website is the kind of thing that a website consultant would do for a financial advisor as part of a multi-step process of overhauling your website or creating a brand new one if you're going from scratch, right? Um, and a full package like that could be $25,000, $30,000. This first piece, the analysis, could easily be $3,000 to $5,000 of expert advice. And you're getting it for the cost of using this prompt and paying your monthly, $20 a month fee for ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude. Okay. So now let's continue though, because a more advanced prompt is, like I was mentioning before, it's going to give the AI model some context. And in this context, we're saying, I'm a financial advisor targeting, and then you say who you're targeting, retirees, professionals, so on and so forth. My goal is to build trust online, increase inbound leads, and comply with industry regulations. So that's a fairly concise context. Other times, you may use portions of the prompt framework. Every prompt doesn't have to have every single element in it, but context is always important. And so if you were coming with a particular challenge, you might add a little more context, right? And then questions. Questions, so important. This is an aspect of interacting with your AI models that many people totally miss, okay? And that is you tell the AI, let me know if there's additional information. Ask me questions about this task so that you're collaborating with the AI model. You're giving it you're answering questions that it raises for itself as it goes through the reasoning process of analyzing your website. Okay, so that's critical. And then examples. We're not going to look at examples, but sometimes if you're asking the AI model to create something very specific for you, what you will do is you will attach an example to your prompt and say, hey, take a look at this example. Sometimes you can also ask it to go out and look at examples of good best-in-class advisor websites as well. Okay, so that is the prompt that we did for our friends at the Foundation Wealth Partners. All right, so let's have a look at what the results looked like. Okay, so now I'm going to toggle over to my browser. I'm going to go right here. Let's go up here. How's that looking, Doug, at this point?
It looks good. Looks good.
Close that up. So I ran this prompt earlier this morning, and you can see here it is, right? We just went through long prompt, website critique, task, format, uh, all the other elements that we went through. Okay, so let's look at the let's look at the results. But before we do, I want to point out something. The AI models are getting better and better all the time. It's actually quite mind-blowing. And later this fall, I'm going to spend a little time talking about how um, how there was an article published in the Journal of Financial Planning that looked at 11 personal finance prompts by ChatGPT, and ChatGPT totally failed on all 11 of those prompts. Now, the academic article appeared a year ago this last spring for something that happened in, I think, March of 2023. It failed everything, right? Since then, ChatGPT and other AI models have been upgraded repeatedly. And we ran those 11 prompts again recently. And guess what? It absolutely crushed it every single time. What was the reason for that? It's a new type of large language model that is equipped with reasoning. And so you can see here, when we ask this AI model to go ahead and analyze our friend's website out there, the Foundation Wealth Partners, it thought for 4 minutes and 38 seconds, and it consulted 27 different sources before coming back with this analysis of our friends' websites. Okay, so let's just kind of quickly show everybody, the kinds of things it did. So first impression and credibility signals. It looked at issues around regulatory transparency. It wanted to be sure that the page was showing credentials, which it was doing a good job of, that there were links to the client portal. Okay. But then it started to look at some weaknesses as well. And so it said the home page buries its value. It's not, totally right up front like it should be. It raises some other questions about lacking, testimonials, which now are allowed. And so it makes some specific recommendations to rewrite the hero portion of the website. That's where, in essence, it's the sort of center of visual impact when somebody comes to a website. So it's recommending, a significant rewrite there. It's recommending unifying its compliance links site-wide. Okay. And it says, hey, you want to, if you can, add a compliant testimonial. And it even says this must be uncompensated with required disclosures and oversight. Okay. And it's citing the SEC there. And then it goes on to visual design and branding, and it identifies the strengths. This is a good website, but it also, so it says clean, conventional, legible typography, that sort of thing. That's good. But then it says, well, you're using some stock images, kind of generic blocks of copy. It seems like you're mixing up your audiences. And so then it makes some specific recommendations about that as well. Establish a visual system that's more aligned with your niche. Replace the generic copy blocks. Split the brand architecture. If you truly serve 401k plan sponsors and households, either separate that into a microsite landing page or move it over under business. So, you're going to get very good detailed recommendations like that. Does that mean that they ought to do that? Well, they may have a particular good reason for not doing it, but I just want to demonstrate nonetheless the level of knowledge and insight that the AI model is bringing to the critique of the website. And I'm not going to go through all this, but just to show everybody, there's a whole section here. I'm looking at the navigation and the user journey. It says there's no clear place for start here. And then it makes, 3 or 4 other recommendations. Then it looks at the copy and the value proposition. It identifies strengths, but it also identifies weaknesses. Again, makes 4 different recommendations there. Then it looks at lead generation and the conversion tools, same sort of thing, identifies the strengths, identifies the weaknesses, makes recommendations. The mobile website aspect, again, strengths, weaknesses, and recommendations. Then it comes back with a 30-day actionable roadmap on, all right, here's some things that you can start doing in the next 30 days that are fairly easy to start to, boost the quality of your website. And then it even goes on and makes some additional recommendations to do in the next 60 days and even go on right for 90 days in terms of different types of things you can do to make your website better. So, and then it even asks some more questions. And so the point is, you then can have a particular follow-up conversation with the AI model as it completes its analysis. So that was, one prompt, Doug. So yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's just incredible to me the depth that it goes into. And like you were mentioning, this is something you would have paid a consultant a considerable amount of money to provide for you.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
now it's kind of fingertip access.
yep,
So, and I would just say, run this prompt for yourself for your own website. And if you want to see the value right away. Um,
yep, yep, definitely. All right, so we should go on to the second one.
yes, yep, let's get on to the second prompt.
All right, let me get over here back to my Word doc. So the second prompt, websites, is our topic today. And so we know, going back to the top of the hour when I was talking about, hey, look, one of your clients refers you or is in the process of developing a referral to you. Your client mentions your name and the name of your firm. Somebody's going to go, before they take any actions, someone's going to go to the website. They're going to check you out. And when they check out your website, one of the first things they're likely going to be clicking on is your about page, right? And so we really want to be sure, and that's probably really, if you're doing an overhaul or a major critique of your website, digging into all the pages and getting, very layered and detailed critiques, which are easy to do, because right, the critique we just ran kind of gave a global analysis of your website. Now we're going to pick one little tranche of your website and see what we can do to make that better. We know the about page is highly visited, so let's look at that. And so the prompt here, again, is you're a website designer and copywriter who specializes in working with financial advisors. You will complete a critique on the clarity of my about page using these guidelines, these questions as guidelines. You insert the website. Is the language on this page clear and easy to understand for my target audience? And which parts of the content are too complex and jargon heavy? All right, this is a fairly simple um, response, a fairly simple prompt. It just will kind of pretty much role and task. Didn't even get into format because that ChatGPT can infer that as well. So using again our friends at Foundation Wealth Partners, let's take a look at what ChatGPT had to say about their about page, which I ran these prompts about an hour ago. So, and you can see, just to bring everybody in, you're a website designer and copywriter. There's the link. And then the two questions. Is the language on this page clear and easy to understand? Which parts of the content are too complex? And so here's ChatGPT, comes back with clarity and readability for your target audience. It mentions what's working, right? There are some value-driven headlines like experience, guidance, client-centric attention. Good. Client-centered tone, phrases like you are never just another account number to us, and we know your name, understand your unique goals. Great stuff. ChatGPT is acknowledging that, right? Plain spoken assurance of independence, really, really important. But then it hits on some weaknesses impacting the readability. It says sentences remain dense and abstract, and then gives an example. Our firm offers clients the wisdom of accumulated knowledge and the fresh eyes of a new generation, complementary viewpoints that create a blended perspective on an ever-changing financial landscape. Uh, and it says this is conceptually rich. It is conceptually rich. I do like the intentions here, but may lose the readers who want more tangible benefits quickly. Okay, interesting point. And then it also mentions frequent corporate speak and buzzwords dilute the impact. And then it points out impartial financial advice, innovative strategies executed at a high level, creative ideas designed to manage risk, seek increased returns, all convey meaning, but are generic and could be streamlined. Okay. And again, then you could look at this language and have a more in-depth conversation with ChatGPT, since we have invoked its expertise in copywriting, and you could look at those examples and drill down and get some better drafts of some language for you to consider. And on the second area of the critique, again, we're getting into dense constructs and abstract phrases. These are the kinds of things that kill visitors to financial advisors' websites. And so we won't go through all of it, but just suffice to say that it is putting its finger on some things that may be evocative but also vague, maybe a metaphors that don't clarify exactly what you're trying to achieve. And again, now you're really getting, really excellent advice on how to change some sentences on your website that are likely to have a greater impact on any referral who's coming there to check you out. And so then the critique goes on, and with some very specific recommendations: simplify the sentence structure. It gives some before and afters. Replace the generic buzzword with real client benefits. You want to dimensionalize your benefits. You really want to be able to people to be able to see in their own mind what working with you is going to be like, very specifically in my own life or in the life of my family. So it's saying get rid of the buzzwords, focus on real benefits. Then it says use concrete examples or specifics, and it gives some details there. Break long paragraphs into digestible bullet points, very important in terms of website copy and readability. Uh, Elevate emotional connection with a narrative voice. It says, and it gives some very specific recommendations. Then it summarizes it and pulls it all together into a table identifying the problem area and the reader impact that that problem is likely causing, like causing the readers to lose focus, sound generic, distracting from your core message, visually overwhelming. Those are all the impacts of the problem areas. But then it has suggested fixes as well. And then it ends with some final thoughts about how to improve the about page there. So again, before ChatGPT arrived on the scene, that you would be paying an expert who would spend quite a long time analyzing your website, meeting with you, writing up a report of the recommendations. And that is, you know, highly valuable work that would take hours and weeks in reality. And it's all been condensed into, a half-hour interaction with ChatGPT, asking it to critique your website. So these are just some examples of why we are such big proponents of advisors really learning how to use and communicate with AI in an effective way. And that's what our AI-powered financial advisor program is all about. We're starting at September 18th. It's 2 hours each session. It's 4 sessions over 4 weeks, 2 hours each session. We're going to take you through learning how to write great prompts. And then we're going to get into applying them with your client engagement, with your marketing, and how to pull all this together. And then anybody who's in the program is also going to become a member of our new website, AI for Advisors Pro. So yeah, so that's what's going on, Doug.
Yeah, great. I mean, I think that just about does it. I highly recommend again that you guys, give it a try. Use those two prompts Sean overviewed for your own website, your own about page, and have
Yeah.
see the proof before you
Right.
of the value that you can get
Yep.
there.
Yep.
So, okay, Sean, thank you so much again for sharing those two prompts. We hope that people will check out horsesmouth.com/AI and potentially join us for the upcoming workshop, September 18th.
Yep.
Thank,
All right,
thank
Doug.
you.
Thanks so much. Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Take care now.